I got to say, I'm slightly disappointed we haven't been able to do like a real 10-minute mindfulness break. Really good videos that we took time to get and put in there and really kind of help you guys de-stress a little bit. I know everything coming back right now, mental health was a big concern with us when we started this endeavor till now. So we really hope you guys enjoyed some of those. And, tomorrow, hopefully we'll better time these out. But, without further ado, I'd like to introduce a great talker, a great friend of mine, colleague, also my co-host with the podcast, the man, the myth, the legend, Austin Jackson.
Omar, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm liking the suit, bro. I feel like I gotta put my three-piece on now. What's up?
Man, stop acting like your middle name ain't Dapper itself. Like you ain't Mr. Dapper himself. All right, so what we got, about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, get involved with the community today? All right, copy that. All right, so first and foremost, I want to say shout out to Omar and the entire ABA Educate community behind the scenes, putting this all together and making this happen. It is phenomenal, it's tremendous. The fact that they're always being able to stay in touch with the community and constantly feeding someone behind the scenes. Honestly, I wasn't even supposed to be here speaking with you guys today, but the man that Omar is, he pulled some strings last minute. He said, hey, can you make something happen for me? I said, for you, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I don't have slides with you today, but what I did prepare is a whole lot of information. So I'm going to give you the next 30 seconds to go ahead and grab your papers and your pens. Let's get pencils, whatever the case is, but we're about to start dropping some nuggets, and I want you guys to retain a lot of the information that we're dropping today. Before we do open up on all of that, give all of yourselves a round of applause for taking the time out to come here today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose here to be here with us, actually investing in yourselves, in your career, in your future. So without further ado, let's get jam-packed right into it. Let's give you the content that you came for, all right? We're gonna break this session down into two different parts. The first one, I actually wanna talk about the structure of building your business in AB. And then for the second half, which I'm a little bit more psyched about, I want to give you guys what I call the Supercharger bonus. And stay tuned for that, because that Supercharger bonus, I just came up with that name. But what I like to say is that if you follow that structure and those steps, I guarantee you I'll be able to double your income in a year. All right? So let's start talking about building your business. So when you first come into this industry as a freelancer, that word freelancer, free being the key part, I think, of course, it does open our minds to freedom. And I think that at times we can tend to overuse that freedom, because with that freedom, we have the choice to be able to say, yes, I want to work today. No, I don't want to work today. And we can go from there. And it's beautiful. It's an option like no other. However, if it's not utilized correctly and if it's not utilized with discipline, what happens is it can tend to make us lackadaisical. We can tend to get lazy with our decisions. So I want to make sure that rule number one, let's write this down. We want to be intentional with every last one of our decisions as a freelancer. We want to be intentional with every last one of our decisions in life. So intentional, write that down, all right? So starting off as a freelancer, you're probably going to go out there and you're going to get in tune with labor companies and things of the sort. How labor companies work is they're out there negotiating with clients to be able to get the work and the opportunities to provide for technicians. Now, besides actually them having the work, they also take care of your payroll. They probably take care of your insurance. So how they make money is they're a broker. They take a percentage off of the deal, and then they pay you what is the difference. So as a freelancer, you're just coming in. Somebody's already taking a piece of your money as you're thinking, correct? So you want to position yourself into being, how am I not just another name on the list, but how am I a freelancer that's new to this company? How can I make a difference? How can I stand out? This is where we talk about becoming a business. Let's talk about building your business. As a freelancer, now you're in charge of building your business. So you have 3 goals. I have 3 goals for you as a freelancer. The first 3 steps, what it's going to take for you to build your business. The first one is professionalism. You are a business now. The we of a business is so much bigger than the I as an individual. So, with that being said, everything that you do is a representation of your business. The way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you dress, your propriety, your hygiene, your social circles. All of these things are things that people don't pay attention to, but there are things that you're constantly being judged on, whether you know it or not. So every time that you step out, why not try to be the best and most accurate representation of your business that you want to put forward? That will be step number 1, your professionalism. A wise man once said, Jay-Z, I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Man, you got to start acting like it, conducting yourself as such, and making sure that you put forward that energy. That's the only way the universe will ever be able to reciprocate, to receive and reciprocate that energy for you. All right. Second quote that I want you guys to write down. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It is who knows you and what they know you for. Do I need to repeat that? I said, it is not what you know or who you know. It is who knows you and what they know you for. All right? So going back to step number 1, being a representation of your business 24/7. When they call your name is your brand. What will be known about you? Right? All right. So if we need to start meeting some key players in the game, then step number 2 must be network. It is your job. It is your responsibility. It is your lifeblood, the lifeblood of the very business you are creating, to network. Networking is easy, but it is so easily done the wrong way. I guarantee you, 99% of people in the AV industry has at least 2 to 3 people that they know who will say, hey, who you working with? Hey, who got that show? What show you working on? Hey, put me on, put me on. That's not networking. That is not networking, and that is far from networking. What value are you bringing to them? Why should they put you on? Why should they put you on? Who are you? What are you going to do for them? What are you going to do for the show? If they were to put your name in, and what value are you going to bring to the client? And at the end of the day, are you going to make them look good for even giving you a referral? Why? So it's your job to go out there and create contacts. That's 1. Create contacts. 2. Forge new relationships. When we forge new relationships, it is your duty. It is your absolute responsibility to make real relationships. Relation being the key word in that. Relationships, real relationships, not going out there with an empty hand saying, what can you do for me? But rather than coming forward from a position of service and saying, what can I do to help you out to create more value, and that will create more opportunity for me as a freelancer, for me as a business, for my business. What can I do to help you succeed? What can I do to create more opportunity for me later on? So number 2 is network. And number 3 is to learn the industry inside and out. Make sure that you are paying attention to everything. It is your key responsibility to learn the industry trends. When is busy season? When is slow season? Who has shows during the slow season? What shows are still happening? What companies pay better? What companies has a better reputation? What companies take care of their technicians? What companies has more opportunities? What companies can I learn with? What companies can I grow with? Pay attention to all of these things on the inside, realize what's going across the industry, and then you'll be able to position yourself as such. Those are your 3 responsibilities when you come in the game as a freelancer. Do we have to go over them again? Your 3 responsibilities, all right? Make sure that you go in there, and the first thing that you have to do is work on your professionalism. Establish yourself as a business. Present your brand forward. Number 2, network. Create contacts, forge new relationships, build real and lasting relationships. Number 3 is learn the industry inside and out. Learn the industry trends. Analyze the situation, see with your 2 eyes, but 8 times in your mind. That's going to be your 10 times full that you're going to use to start positioning yourself to project and the trajectory of your career to go much further than what you're anticipating in a short amount of time. All right? So now that we talked about the business itself, let's talk about the actual structure. What's new for some freelancers, what may not be so new for other freelancers, all right? So being a sole proprietor versus being an LLC or a corporation, there's obviously huge benefits as to why they're always recommending this for you, right? But why are they recommending this? Let's talk about an LLC and a corporation versus a sole proprietor. The major difference between the two is one word: protection. The first would actually be asset protection. The second would be income protection. How does this work? Well, when I say asset protection, when you start making some money, you tend to become the victim of people who are looking for an easy route to get some money themselves, correct? So to protect yourself from lawsuits and litigation, to keep things separate from business than personal, so that when something affects the business, it doesn't affect you or your family personally, you want to make sure that you keep these 2 things separate. You go ahead by doing that by forming an LLC, which is a limited liability company, or you form a corporation. There's different types of corporations. There's C corporations, S corporations, depending on what you want to get involved, depending on how fast you want to grow this business, what is the future trends that you want to attack for this business moving forward, then you know kind of, or you should do, I should say, you should do a little bit more research into what company structure would work better for you, okay? Let's stay basic right now and let's talk about the LLC. So any one of these companies or corporations, they give you that asset protection, but they also give you income protection. And I will tell you this, I'm going to dive into tax advantages and things of the sort, but I want you guys to understand when I break certain things down, I want you guys to understand exactly where I'm coming from. So when we look at someone who's operating on the left side of the quadrant, speaking of the cash flow quadrant, speaking of on the left side, meaning the employed or self-employed position, or someone who's operating on the right side, meaning a business owner or an investor, when we look at the difference in how people are operating from the different sides, money tends to flow differently on each side of the quadrant. To break that down and make it very simple, I'll say this. If you are an employee, your wages are withdrawn and they're taxed even before you receive them. The financial flow goes earned money, taxed money, and then you are given what is left over for you to spend. Your money is earned, whatever you earned, then they tax it, and then you are given whatever is left over for you to spend. Operating on the right side of the quadrant, the financial aspect changes just a bit. Whereas you earn money, then you spend money, and then you are taxed on what's left. To break that down, I want to ask you this. If I were to give you a bag of seeds, and I said, these are orange seeds, right? Take this bag of seeds and plant them across this land. Go ahead and fertilize this ground, nurture these crops, and when you grow all of these orange trees as big and as tall as they possibly can be and bearing all these fruit, then I'll tax you 50% on what's left. Would you rather that? Or would you rather pay your fair price for the seeds up front, do your same work, and when you grow all of these orange trees, all of these things belong to you? Do you think it's fair that you would pay, let's say these orange trees grow up to be $1 million worth, and then when you're taxed 50%, now you must give away $500,000. But these orange seeds was only $5 for a bag. Do you think it's worth it not paying your taxes first? Or do you think that you should actually let me pay for these seeds now and then fertilize and grow my business, and when I produce, that can be for myself, for my family, my employees, and things of the sort. So I explained that so that you guys can look at the difference in how tax structures are set up. When we look at the difference between, I also want to give you another example. When we look at money being earned, taxed, and then spent, if you're being taxed at a 500%, at a 50% rate, right? You would have to earn almost twice the amount of money to pay the same bill. Meaning, a lot of us in AB, we are so busy that at times we have to pay for childcare. If we are paying a childcare bill that costs $400, so to speak, right? If we earned $800 and then we're taxed 50%, we have the $400 that is left over to pay for the daycare. But if our cash flow situation were different, whereas we earned $800, we paid $400 for daycare, then that $400 that's left over is all that we're being taxed on. Even if we're being taxed the same rate of 50%, 50% of 400 is only 200, whereas 50% of 800 is 400. Do you see the difference in how you set yourself apart by having yourself in a business structure and having yourself set apart for these tax advantages and benefits? Let's talk more about freelancing. We're always sending out invoices. We're always paying for uniforms. We're driving here, there, and everywhere. We're paying tolls. Sometimes we're paying for our flights, traveling different cities, different states. We may have to pay for Uber transportation, car repairs. All of these things, if they are bylaws that are written down in your company structure, as long as they do not violate any of the IRS codes and statutes and bylaws that's in place, these are all legal company tax write-offs that you could take advantage of by setting yourself up with the proper business structure. When we look at these things, I want to also go a little bit further, but when we look at these things and we talk about these statutes and IRS codes, things are constantly changing. But if you're not paying attention to the rules of the game, then how can you ever play the game to advance or to even get better? How can you get ahead? Where's the next step coming from you? So when we look at it, we talk about money management. When we're freelancing, we're getting these opportunities and things now. We're networking, we meet new clients, we meet new opportunities, we get new opportunities. We're out there, we're traveling, we have all of these expenses. But now I'm starting to make some money. What do I do with this money? Oh, I'm just gonna take it all in and I'm gonna spend and I'm blowing money fast, and I got it. This is the quickest way to find yourself right back to ground zero. The fastest way to find yourself right back to ground zero. There was an old system that people used to pay attention to back in the day. They used to file things in an envelope, whereas the mother who was collecting her coins, who wanted to make sure that she could take care of her kids, she would say, well, this envelope is for their after school program. And this envelope is for their school clothes for next school year. This envelope is for the light bill. This envelope is for the rent. We don't necessarily need envelopes, but what we do need to do is we need to set ourselves some type of structure. We need to start compartmentalizing or creating buckets or little pots, whatever you want, so that we can set ourselves up to be in the best position to win. What I mean by that is there's things that we know we have to pay for. If we know that we have bills, let's set aside a certain account for bills so that we know exactly what we need. Let's set aside the same amount that we need for taxes because we know we're going to need that. Let's set aside everything that we need to do in terms of money management to make sure that these items and these goals are being, these requirements, I should say, are being met. Because now when we start talking about requirements, these things that are needed to be paid, they must be paid. They must be paid on time. I talked about labor companies providing insurance. As you grow in the industry, you'll want to start getting your own insurance. You want to make sure that you can get the best rates that you can qualify for. You also want to make sure that you are in the best position that you could qualify for these rates based on your personal credit, but it's time for you to start establishing business credit as well, filing for a DUNS number for your company. Let's go back and let's talk about how we actually get this LLC to take advantage of all of these tax benefits and these advantages and these breaks. Filing for an LLC or a corporation is fairly simple. Most states or counties has a website where you can go on, which is their clerk of courts. Once you go on these websites, you're gonna look for an area where it says gonna apply for a new business license. It's gonna ask you, once you've done your research, which one of these structures would you like to apply for? Once you open that, you fill out your information. It's gonna ask you who is gonna be your registered agent. What your registered agent is the person who is responsible for intaking all of the legal information based on that company. If you do this all yourself, it's cheaper. You can go through third-party companies, kind of like LegalZoom, and they may even say that they could be your special agent, or your third-party agent may work better for you if you're a person who's moves a lot and you're from state to state to state. If they need to get some type of legal business information to you and you don't have a permanent address, you may want it to go to that agent because that agent will do what it takes to get in contact with you on your behalf to get that information to you. All right. So once we file for this, we go ahead and we submit this application. Boom. Our LLC or our incorporation, whether S Corp, C Corp, it's filed. All right. That application is in and it's processing. What's the next step? Well, we need a social security number, not for ourselves, but for our business. It's called an EIN number, Employee Identification Number. You're going to go on the IRS website, irs.gov, file for a new EIN. Type in all of your business information, all of the same information, and they will send you a new employee identification number. Once you have your new business license, this process could take 7 to 10 days. Sometimes it could take 2 weeks. Sometimes it could take 6 weeks. Depends on where they're at in the system. everything checks out and you're clear on both sides, you get your business license, you also get your employee identification number. You want to take these two things and you want to go straight to the bank, not to cash out, but to make sure that you open up a new business account. Once you open up a business bank account, they're going to ask you for that information. They're also going to ask you for different things called NAICS codes, meaning NAICS codes are kind of a federal way of processing and saying, what is it that your business does? So you want to research what that is. You give that information to the bank and you open up your business account. Now you can start running a lot of your expenses through the business and being able to take advantage of these tax benefits. All right. These are all of the basic processes and things what we talk about in the structure of creating a business. Your professionalism, networking, creating opportunities, making sure that your business structure is right, making sure that you could take advantage of these tax advantages and these different opportunities here, there, and everywhere. All right. Now, everybody got that down. Does everybody have that? And Omar, do I need to take a break? I feel like I've been pouring information. Get in tune with me. Get in tune.
Keep going. I think we should keep going. I mean, I don't know if the community wants a break. I see tons of comments going on here. People are actively engaging in this. Jeff just posted an IRS thing to help guys dive a little bit deeper into small business mindset.
Love it.
As you're talking, Chris is asking me questions about what's going on as well, because he's got a bunch of questions that are popping out from this. So I think we keep going, man.
I love it. All right, so let's take this into the second half. Let's actually talk about this supercharged bonus. Let's get you guys making some real money. This is actually where the real nitty-gritty is. Like I said, open up those pen and pads, write some notes down, take advantage of everything I'm about to drop to you. This is all information guaranteed. All right, here's the thing. When I give you all this information, I want it to be interactive. So if you have questions at the end of this, let's start popping them in. Let's make this happen, all right? So let's talk about this. The Supercharger bonus. I call it this because I am guaranteed to take your business to the next level. Double your income in 12 months guaranteed. First, I have to give you the structure. Then I will give you the steps, all right? The structure is the hard part. The structure is the discipline. It's the uncomfortable things. It's the things that we don't want to do because they're new to us, they're different, and they're not cool because 90% of the people out there, I should probably say 97% of the people out there are not following these steps. But the question is yours. Do you want to be in the 97% or do you want to be in the top 3%? That's the question I'm going to ask you, all right? Let's talk about the structure for a supercharger bonus. The first thing I want you to write down is this quote. What we do with what we have is more important than what we get. What we do with what we have is more important than what we get, all right? I say that to say this. When we talk about discipline, here's where application comes into play. The key to this is to live off of 50% of your income. 50, you heard that correct. 50% of your income. Meaning, if your monthly bills are $3,000 and you go out and earn $3,000, you don't have enough money to cover your bills because you can only live off of 50% of that, meaning that you have only created $1,500 worth of income. This is the discipline that it's going to take. And I'm going to explain to you why. In theory, you should live off of 70% off of your net income, money that you have after you've paid your taxes. I am just going to talk gross income and say, in theory, you're putting at least 20% aside for taxes. I didn't say that you're spending this amount, but you're putting aside 20% for taxes. All right? If we take advantage of some of these different situations and things that I'm telling you about, that number may be even better for you. However, 20% for taxes, 10%, the first 10%, you're going to give it back to the source from whence it came. What I mean by that is, for me, that's tithing. For someone else, that may be giving it back to the universe. To someone who poured into them when they were having a difficult time, someone who taught them something, someone who picked them up, whatever the case is, but tithing at least 10% of your income towards a greater cause, maybe a charitable cause, but whatever poured into you. And the purpose behind of it is much bigger than the reason, but the reason is very simple. You cannot pour into a full cup. So if your cup is full, no more can be added to you. So you must make it a continuous habit and a practice to give, to practice giving. So you have 10% that you set aside for that. Empty your cup and more can be poured into you. 10% is going to be set into investments that you manage. Whether that be stocks that you're paying attention to that you want to purchase and things of the sort, whether that be real estate, whether that be a business venture, whatever the case is, but you're going to put 10% into some type of asset that is going to create some type of income for you, but it's going to be an asset that you manage. All right? Now, the last 10% is going to be into another asset, but this asset is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be an asset where you're providing the cash for a greater cause. That could be investing, okay, well, if I have $1,000, I don't know how to grow it necessarily, but if I could put it into a company like Tesla and they're growing, then maybe when I'm ready to cash out, my $1,000 may grow. No, it's not that. What I mean is, greater than you is your family. Like one of the speakers before, Clem, a phenomenal speaker and intelligent gentleman, he refers to it as the walkout. When your career comes to a culmination and it's ending, what will it look like at that point? What does retirement look like for you? What are you putting aside towards that? God forbid, today or tomorrow you are dead and gone. Is your family taken care of? The home that you live in, will they have to be struggling and wondering, where am I going to go live now? If you are the breadwinner and if you provide the bread and butter for the family, it's your responsibility to make sure that these things are taken care of in advance. So is it real estate that you know for sure that when I'm gone, it's going to be there for my family? Is it some type of 403B, or is it some type of index universal life insurance policy? Is it a life insurance policy that when I'm dead and gone, my family is okay? My family's is okay. So I have 10% going to tithes, 10% going to investments that I manage for my future, for my retirement, and I have 10% that's going into when I'm dead and gone, what is the final aspect all looks like? 20% going towards taxes. This only leaves me with 50%. But if I make it my responsibility, an absolute must, a must to live my life based on this exact structure, then I know I have $3,000 in bills. It forces me to go out there and create $6,000 at minimum in income. At minimum in income. So if I'm there, okay, well, if I create $6,000 and I still ain't got no money, well then, all right, I need to go out there and I need to start making at least $7,500. You see how having the same amount of bills, but a different mindset and a different responsibility changed my driving factor into the minimum allowable that I would accept for myself? That's the key in the definition into change. Our standards. What are we willing to accept for ourselves? Before, my minimum standard is I just need $3,000. Now, my standard is I need to make $7,500 every month so that I could take care of these bills. I could take care of my future. And today or tomorrow, I'm sick, dead, and gone, whatever the case is. I'm good. My family is good. My home is good. My assets are protected. And while I am ready to walk out and I am ready to retire, my assets have grown to where I can live off of their dividends and I don't have to worry about tearing down my body anymore. All right, so here we are. We talked about all of this, and in theory, it sounds good. But when someone has $3,000 in bills and all they focus on is $3,000 in bills, then they're saying, okay, I know the structure, and I don't see how I can make this happen. Well, let me give you the steps. The steps are very simple. When I say we're talking about responsibility, we're talking about discipline. Here are the steps. 5 steps. The very first one, set clear, cut, and precise goals. From the day that you enter into this industry as a freelancer, know who you are, know where you come from, know where you want to go, and figure out quickly what transition it's going to take for you to get from where you are to where you want to be. But set clear, cut, precise goals. You don't need to know everything what happens in between the journey. What you need to know is where you are and where you want to be. All right? That's step number 1. Clear, cut, and precise goals. The most important thing about that is not even what you obtain, but it's rather who you become in the process of it. In the process of when you have these goals and living intentionally exactly where we started to obtain these goals, it teaches us one technique that is so amazing, it's phenomenal. It teaches us about wise decision making. Set clear, cut, and precise goals. Live intentional and make your decisions based on those goals. It will get you towards your journey. That's step number 1. Step number 2, these are your steps. Write them down. Step number 2, expand outside of your comfort zone. Expand outside of your comfort zone. Create a new network and form real relationships. Real relationships. That's step number 2. Step number 3, add value. When we talk about these relationships, what can I bring to this relationship? What can I bring to this show? What can I bring to this environment? What can I bring to this crew? What can I bring to my team? What value can I provide? Add value to the table. Bring value to the table. Add value by asking a very simple question. What's in it for them? Not what's in it for me. What's in it for them? How can I create more value for them? I guarantee you that one question alone will make you more income than anything else. Ask yourself that question. How can I create more value and bring more value to the marketplace? Number 4 is innovate. I was unsure if I should put innovate or if I should put educate, because I know that Omar is such a huge advocate for education, and I believe in it 100%. But I believe that with education, it teaches us, and we also must adopt what we see moving forward, and we must innovate. It is our job to create. We were put here to create. We get hired to go on shows and create. The end clients hire production companies to create. Production companies hire you as a technician for you to create. Innovate. What are you going to do new? What are you going to do different? What have you been doing that you can now do better? Educate yourself. So for number 5, I'm going to say it's a double-edged sword. I'm going to say if you're going to cut it, I talked about doubling the income, so we got to start cutting from both sides, all right? The double-edged swords, which means we got ease on both sides. If number 4 was innovation, then number 5 must be educate and execute. Educate and execute. Education without execution is, how many statues have you seen of someone who was out there he was the world's greatest thinker? Even if they wanted to be a philosopher, or even if you know them as a philosopher, you know them for sharing their thoughts, whether they journaled them or wrote them down or recorded them in Scribe or whatever the case may be, but they had to create. So it's your job to educate yourself. What's new? What's better? Do I want to be a lighting tech? Do I want to be an audio tech? Do I want to be a video tech? Where does my specialty lie? Where do I want to get better at? Where do I want to dig deeper into education at? Where can I start figuring out, how could I do something new? How could I do something different? How could I do something better? How could I do something more creative? But go out there and execute. Do not be afraid to fail, because the most lessons that you will ever learn will always come forth in failure. But with those 5 steps, you have the structure and you have the steps. Apply them accordingly. Don't sway from any portion of it. Live off of 50% of your income. Go out there and apply those steps. And I guarantee you, your freelance career, even if you continue to work with labor companies for the rest of your life, ask the difference in the person who's at the bottom of the labor pool or the top of the labor pool if those relationships didn't make a difference, if the value that they added to the table didn't make a difference, if they weren't known for being professional, for being reliable, for being responsible. If I wasn't known that when I'm dealing with this person, I'm dealing with a professional. They are a businessman. They are a business. I like dealing with them. Ask yourself, what position would you rather be in? There you go. You have the supercharge bonus. I gave you the structure. I told you about the business. It is your job to take all of this, what I gave you. You got a lot of notes. I hope you took it all in. Go out there and execute. Do we have any questions? Omar, let's get him. Let's get him. I got a couple minutes. That's my boy. You said my boy.
I'm still taking notes, bro. Why are we stopping? Let's go.
Let's go.
Listen, that was mind blowing. There's tons of side conversation going here right now between myself. I'm having another one in my ear with Chris. I mean, this is a talk that I wish I would have had years ago, and I had a similar conversation with one person just like this, right? I had a talk one day sitting down with one person, and Jeff had brought something up here that I thought was that moment for me, right? Where I was like, you hear people say this all the time, I'm broke, I'm at my minimum, all this stuff. And for me, growing up, yeah, if I had zero in the bank, I was broke. But when you get to this level, right, this level of intelligence, this level of business, zero, you're way past broke, man. I have a minimum now, and my minimum is my zero. And that yes, kind of mindset, to even to get there, even to get there was different for me. And it took a conversation like this with someone who really knows business and to break it down and explain it to me, which you did you gave us the roadmap, right? Like, here's a start, here's where you go, here's how to do this, here's how to do that, and here's where you got to be. You broke down the numbers for us. You broke it down into the percentages. That was my favorite part. But it's a lot to absorb, right? And I think, we keep talking, honestly. This could be a whole nother talk for another hour. There's so many things that we covered this just surface, right? Like, this is what you need to learn to get started, but it goes so much deeper, and there's so many other effects that you can just go forever when it comes to business. And you definitely did a great justice to what we talked about. Your everything we just did was fantastic, man. I'm hyped about what we just said. I took tons of notes, tons of MF notes. But yeah, listen, before I let you go, right before we end for the night, I know you guys have been on here all day with us. So thank you, everybody, for being here so much with us. But before we end the night, Austin, if you had one last thing you could tell the community out there, one last final words of wisdom, right, before we let go for the night, what would that be for the community?
I felt like I gave y'all so much already on there, man. I got to give y'all some more.
Just one. Let's do it this way. Not a business one, right? Let's talk a little bit more about something you and me are passionate, right? Like the one thing I love with AV Tech Talks is that we talk about these hard skills, right? And what you and me do with the podcast are the soft skills, right? And
yes, sir.
realizing the importance of that, because, and you guys, if you've been listening, you've been hearing it all day, right? It's about the crews are being hired because they like working with that person, right? No one said anything about technical skills. Yeah, you have some of those, but I just like working with you in this environment. You heard from other speakers in the beginning of the day, right? A lot of this is from networking, is from knowing the right people. And even you said it here a couple times.
Sir.
If you can give a talk or an inspirational word about networking and connecting, right? What would you think would be a parting word on that part? Because as far as, money, for me, at least the way I think about it, right? Money, there's an abundance of money. There's tons of it. We're digitally creating it all the time. Money's to be made.
Yes,
this industry is corporate. We're in the corporate business. This is where the money goes, and we get a part of that, right? So it's money to be made if you're hungry for it and you're out there and you're working and you're hustling. But on top of that, like you said, it's who you know that really gets you to that next level. So what could I impart with anybody out here today, or you, not me, you, because you're the mastermind, about networking and doing it correctly?
So I did have a final tip that I was going to give you, and I was going to say, know who you are. And that's not just about business. That's not just about you being an AV technician. This comes to all aspects and areas of your life, because by knowing who you are and knowing exactly your comfort in yourself and who you are and what you bring to the table, your standards change. What you accept for yourself changes. The decisions that you make for yourself changes. The company that you hang around change. The way that you show up for work changes. The way that you work changes. All right. So when we talk about networking, if we know who we are as individuals, we know what type of value, we know our strengths and we know our weaknesses. Now, I believe that every one of us is what I call a middle child, meaning there is someone that we can learn from and there is someone that we can teach. So our strengths, why not be able to try to empower those in others? And our weakness, why not try to learn from others how we can improve? So I believe that the power of networking is done in where's effective collaboration in the relationship. The biggest problem that I see, again, is the gimme, what's in it for me. But I believe in the power of networking, seeing what other people has going on, building real relationships by really being interested in who they are as a person, what they really have going on, how can they get better, and offering those areas of improvement, or at least seeing how you can add value to it. It changes the conversation completely. It's the difference between someone calling you on the phone randomly and they saying, "Hey Omar, my name is Austin and I do such and such and I'm selling this and this and this. Can you give me a chance?" You're like, "No, I don't know you from anywhere. All right, bye." I say, but if I call you and I say, "Hey, Omar, I know that you have a show out here in Orlando every year, and I see that the show is coming back. Is it at the Rose and Shingle Creek again? All right, do you guys need any blah, 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 whatever." Now it shows that you at least paid some type of interest in me to realize this is something I'm doing. And whatever the case is, even if you bring up such and such, well, I know that you had such and such as a video technician and they may have moved to whatever. Do you have any open slots, or is there any way that I may be able to help you out? Whatever the case is, but being interested about the other person, what's in it for them, before you ask yourself what's in it for me, I feel like that is one of the most powerful techniques that you could ever take forward in networking.
100%. I like that. So everybody, big round of applause for Austin here. Thank you so much for being with us, Austin, man. I really appreciate it. Sorry. So my networking event that we have going on, if you guys bought your tickets, you had a link to go to a networking event, and that network event led you to a recruiter, and that recruiter was able to connect with you guys. It is still going on right now. So my initial Zoom that I had for you guys to come to an after party, hang out with us for a little bit, talk about the show, be excited about it, is going to take a little bit longer. I need to create a new one now because unfortunately this one will shut down after the meeting is done. So if you guys want to hold by, we're going to play another mindfulness video for about 10 minutes for you guys. Sorry, for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll go to our ending slide. If you want to hold on, I will post that link for you guys to join us afterwards. Come hang out, talk, socialize, talk about this if you guys want to. If not, enjoy the rest of your day. And I will also be posting it on Facebook. So, yeah, this has been an awesome day. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today with us. Sorry, I'm used to doing this at nighttime, so I'm a little lost. But yeah, I'm just really proud about everything that went down there. I'm proud for you guys for being here. Proud for the engagement in the comments. Proud for our speakers. Just super excited that the summit was so successful. Big shout out to the man behind the scenes you guys don't get to see, which is Chris Bodie Brown, who's running everything right now, organizing the PowerPoints and the callers and the videos and the overlays that we all built and created. He's a man in the background kind of running all this for us. So big shout out to him for doing everything he's doing. See you tonight at the after party, which I will drop in a few minutes, or see you guys tomorrow. Either way, enjoy. Chris, go ahead and take us to the next one.